Hi, I'm State Representative Ross Hunter. I'm proud to represent the 48th Legislative District, which is parts of Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, and all of the Points communities. I used to have a little bit of Issaquah, but they took it away from me in the last redistricting. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the budget. I'm the chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the House of Representatives here, which means I'm responsible for producing a budget, trying to get a budget that can get 50 votes in the House and 25 votes in the Senate, and then be signed by the governor. My guess is that this year we will have a bipartisan budget as we have the Republicans control the Senate and the Democrats control the House, and we will come to an agreement, as we have done every year since 1889, on a balanced budget. So I want to start off and talk a little bit about what our budget problem looks like. This chart, very simple chart, just shows $32 billion of new revenue. That's how much money we expect to bring in the next two-year budget, the budget that we'll be writing this winter. But budgets aren't just about revenue, they're about spending. And we look at our current spending programs, our K-12 education, our prison system, Medicaid system, where we provide health care for low-income seniors, for the blind, the disabled, and for pregnant and parenting moms and their children, for very low-income people. We provide a variety of other services as well, but mostly people describe state budgets as we educate, we medicate, and we incarcerate. It's pretty much 80 or 85% of a total state budget. If we project out all of the services that we're providing today, no changes in the level of service, our projection is that will cost about $1 billion more than we'll bring in revenue next year. That's partly because our revenue growth is down as a result of the recession, and partly because we're seeing a lot of new seniors are eligible for Medicaid, and which is driving up the costs in that area. When you try and build a budget, I'm going to talk about how the governor built her no new revenue budget. She approached the problem, she said, all right, there's the base spending, we have the base revenue, what else do we need? We need to have a little bit of money left over at the end of the budget cycle so that if there's a disaster, if we have a big fire season, or if we get a revenue downfall, say we had another recession, that there's something to cushion it. So that's this little pink bar right here, shows you how big that is relative to the size of the budget. Every year there's also a little bit of stuff that you have to add on that's different. And I know people think that we just add spending willy-nilly, but the spending that's in the governor's no new revenue budget is this blue bar here is very, very small compared to the rest of the budget. Small amount of new items. And then she looks at the size of this bar, and she says, well, that bar's about $1.5 billion over the size of the revenue bar, so we have to make some reductions. And in her no new revenue budget, she does in fact make reductions. And this chart shows how she made the changes. The blue shows she made about $1 billion of proposed reductions. The yellow here is fund transfers, so she moves some money in from other parts of the budget, mostly from the capital budget where we don't build something new or buy a new park if we can't afford to maintain the ones we have. She moves about $117 million in money that we would have given to local governments, but we have a higher priority use for it here, and so we're prioritizing. The brown is just money that's left over. Our current budget will have about $192 million left over, so we would carry that forward to the next year. So that's how she constructs her solution. And in a future update, I can show you exactly what parts she cut in which different areas, or you can see that on the governor's website. It doesn't really describe the whole problem, though, because in that budget, she didn't address our paramount responsibility, which is to amply provide for public education. And the Supreme Court held just over a year ago in the McCleary decision that we're responsible for about another $1.5 billion. It's $1.4 billion in new spending that we have to do this year. And this is sort of an unprecedented court order in Washington. And so that takes what looks like about $1.5 billion problem up to almost a $3 billion problem. So her solution with about $1 billion of cuts would be hard to replicate to solve the entire problem that's closer to $3 billion. So we're going to have a lot of work to do to figure out a solution. Many people think that this can be done without raising additional revenue. I personally am very skeptical about that. I think we're going to have to do a balanced solution that's partly a significant number of cuts, but it's also partly some new revenue, and we will see what that balanced solution looks like. Again, I think it's likely that we will have a bipartisan budget vote, so we'll have to come to some agreement, and we'll have to get to a point where the governor can sign the budget. And that's going to take us a couple months. I'll be available for your questions, either by email or phone calls. You can also look at my website, rosshunter.info, where I post regularly on various issues related to state government. And I'd be happy to get your feedback on that as well. Thank you very much. And again, I'm Ross Hunter, represent the 48th Legislative District. Thanks for watching.